Hey everyone, ready to dive into something I think we all kind of struggle with. We're tackling comparison, envy, and FOMO today, and using insights from this Tam Kaur YouTube video. It's called "How to Stop Being Jealous and Comparing Yourself to Others and Become Obsessed with Yourself Instead."
Wow, that's a title that definitely grabs you.
Yeah.
And I think what's so fascinating is Kaur really dives right into the psychology of these emotions, recognizing them as common human experiences. It's not, like a personal failing or something.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Like, it's so easy to beat yourself up
Yeah.
for, feeling those things. But like, she's helping us understand those feelings aren't inherently bad. It's how we use them that matters.
Exactly. Yeah. And to understand what we can do with these feelings, she starts by breaking them down.
Yeah.
So like envy, that's that feeling of wanting what someone else has, which often leads to resentment. And then there's jealousy. That's about fearing the loss of what you already have. And then FOMO, of course, that's the feeling of missing out on experiences you assume are better than your own.
Yeah, it's like she's giving us a language to better understand these super complex emotions. I mean, how many times have you used envy and jealousy interchangeably?
Oh, all the time.
I know I have.
For sure.
But knowing the difference can be a game changer when it comes to, figuring out what's really going on inside.
Totally.
But she also points out they all have this common thread: comparison.
Yeah.
And that's where things can get a little tricky. I mean, comparing ourselves to others is almost like automatic, isn't it?
Totally.
It's how we kind of measure progress or where we stand.
Yeah.
So how do we make sure it doesn't become like toxic?
That's where understanding the root causes is so important. Kara identifies both like external and internal factors. So think about your childhood. Were you constantly being compared to like siblings or classmates? Did you feel this pressure to achieve certain things? Those early experiences can really shape how we view ourselves and others, even years later.
Yeah, it's like those early experiences become the lens through which we see the world.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. But it's not just about our past, right?
No.
Kaur also talks about these internal factors like low self-esteem. If you're constantly doubting yourself, it's so easy to get caught in that comparison trap.
Yeah, totally. And then there's the scarcity mindset. It's this belief that there's only a limited amount of success or happiness or resources to go around.
Oh, yeah.
So if someone else is winning, it feels like you're automatically losing, right?
Yeah.
But imagine shifting to an abundance mindset, believing that everyone can succeed. That changes the whole game.
Totally. Okay, so we've unpacked the definitions. We've dug into the causes. Now the million-dollar question: what do we do about it? Kaur offers some pretty cool strategies, and one of the most intriguing is turning envy into inspiration.
Yeah.
I love that.
And she doesn't just talk about it theoretically. She shares her own experience of feeling envious of successful YouTubers when she was first starting out. Instead of letting that envy kind of paralyze her, she used it as fuel. She figured if they could do it, she could too.
It's like reframing envy as a signpost, not a roadblock. What stands out to you as like the most actionable step in her approach?
It's hard to pick just one, but I think deconstructing the envy is really crucial. It's asking yourself, what is this envy telling me about what I truly desire? It's not about copying someone else's life, but using those feelings as clues to uncover your own path.
So let's say you're scrolling through Instagram and you see someone, traveling the world. Instead of spiraling into that FOMO, you could ask yourself, what about travel appeals to me? Is it the adventure, the cultural immersion, the scenery, and then use those insights to plan your own unique travel experience, even if it's just a weekend getaway close by?
Exactly. It's about taking ownership of those desires and transforming envy into positive action.
Yeah.
And I think that's also where that abundance mindset comes in again.
Yeah.
You can start to view those travel photos not as something you're missing out on, but as proof that it's possible for you too.
Totally. It's like shifting from, I wish I had that, to, I'm going to figure out how to create that for myself.
Yeah.
Which is so empowering. But what about when that envy kind of tips over into jealousy, like that feeling of threat or possessiveness?
Well, Kaur acknowledges that jealousy can be a tougher beast to tame.
Oh, for sure.
But she offers some solid strategies here too. One that really resonates with me is remembering that no one's life is perfect, even if it seems that way, especially online.
Oh, absolutely. It's so easy to get caught up in those highlight reels and forget that everyone is dealing with something behind the scenes. But sometimes even knowing that logically, it's still hard to shake those jealous feelings,
Right. So Kaur suggests a more active approach, creating an alter ego. She uses the example of Beyonce's Sasha Fierce, which was this alter ego that helped her conquer stage fright. It's about stepping into a more confident, powerful version of yourself, especially when you're feeling insecure. What do you think about that?
Honestly, I'm a little skeptical. It feels a little, I don't know, fake.
It might seem that way at first, but there's actually some interesting research on how role-playing can really impact our behavior and our self-perception. Think about actors who completely embody a character. They often talk about how it changes them on like a deeper level. So it's not about denying your true self, but tapping into a different aspect of it, one that might be hidden under those layers of insecurity.
Okay, that makes more sense. So it's more like giving yourself permission to experiment with those different aspects of your personality.
Yeah,
And finding those hidden strengths and bringing them out.
exactly. And you might be surprised at how liberating it can be. But Kaur also stresses that overcoming jealousy requires some honest introspection. It's about getting curious about the root of those feelings. Like what's really going on.
So if you're feeling jealous of, say, a friend's promotion, instead of just stewing in those emotions, you could ask yourself, what's really bothering me here? Is it that I feel undervalued at work? Or is it that I haven't been prioritizing my own career goals?
Yes. It's about turning that jealousy into an opportunity for self-awareness and growth. What insecurities are being triggered? What needs are going unmet? Once you identify those, you can start to address them directly, rather than projecting them onto others.
So instead of focusing on your friend's success, maybe you shift your attention to nurturing your own career aspirations.
Yeah.
Maybe you sign up for a workshop or you carve out time for professional development.
Right. It's about channeling that jealous energy into positive action.
Yeah.
And it's remembering that someone else's success doesn't diminish your own.
Yes.
There's room for everyone to shine.
And that brings us back to the importance of cultivating that abundance mindset.
Wow.
It's about believing there's enough success, happiness, and love to go around, which conveniently is another one of Kaur's affirmations. Other people's success does not symbolize my lack.
Yeah, such a powerful reminder, especially in today's world. It's so easy to get caught in that scarcity trap, feeling like you're constantly fighting for your piece of the pie. But when you shift to an abundance mindset, you can start to celebrate other people's wins without feeling threatened by them.
I think that's a key ingredient in overcoming jealousy. It's learning to see other people's success as inspiration rather than competition.
Absolutely. And it's about remembering that we're all on our own unique journeys, each with its own challenges and triumphs.
Okay, so we've covered envy, jealousy, the importance of recognizing their root causes.
Yeah.
We've touched on some really powerful strategies for transforming those feelings into opportunities for self-discovery and growth.
Definitely.
But instead of just listing Kaur's affirmations, let's explore how they fit into this bigger picture.
Okay.
They're not just about repeating positive phrases, but about cultivating a deeper sense of self-belief.
Exactly. They're tools to help you shift from a mindset of scarcity and comparison to one of abundance and self-acceptance. And with that in mind, let's dive into a few of the affirmations that stand out as particularly impactful. Welcome back to our deep dive into conquering comparison and cultivating self-obsession. We're about to explore some of those powerful affirmations Tam Kaur suggests.
Awesome. I'm ready for a dose of positivity. But before we get to those affirmations, I'm kind of curious about something Kaur mentioned earlier, about how even seemingly confident people can still experience jealousy. You know, it's like this idea that just because someone has a lot going for them doesn't mean they're immune to those feelings.
Absolutely, yeah. It's so easy to fall into that trap of thinking, oh, they have the perfect job, the perfect relationship, the perfect life.
Yeah.
They must have nothing to be jealous of. But, that's rarely the reality, is it?
No, not at all. And she gave this really interesting example about how she used to observe happy couples when she was single.
Yeah.
But instead of feeling envious, she actually found it reassuring.
Oh, wow.
It reminded her that everyone is on their own path and there's no one right way to do life.
What a powerful reframe. It's about recognizing that those couples might have their own challenges behind the scenes, right?
Yeah.
They might be arguing, feeling stressed, or even yearning for something different themselves.
It's like that reminder that those perfectly curated Instagram feeds rarely reflect the full picture.
Exactly. And Kaur emphasizes that those confident, secure people who seem to have it all together aren't necessarily happy because they have nothing to be jealous of.
Right.
They're happy because they're choosing to focus on what they do have rather than what they lack.
It's about cultivating that attitude of gratitude and appreciation, even when things aren't perfect, which actually brings us to one of Kaur's affirmations. I am so thankful for everything I have in my life.
Yeah, such a simple yet powerful statement.
It is.
And I think repeating this affirmation regularly can really help shift your focus from lack to abundance.
Totally. But let's be real, gratitude isn't always easy, especially when you're constantly bombarded by, images of other people's seemingly perfect lives.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you actually put this affirmation into practice? It's easy to say the words, but how do you really embody that feeling?
Kaur suggests a few practical exercises. One is to keep a gratitude journal. Just take a few minutes each day to write down things you're grateful for, no matter how small they might seem.
I've tried gratitude journaling before, and I have to admit, it can feel a little forced at first.
Yeah?
But I've noticed the more I do it, the more I start to appreciate those little things I might have taken for granted.
Totally. It's like you're training your brain to focus on the positive, right?
Yeah.
And it's not about denying the challenges or pretending that everything's perfect. It's about acknowledging the good along with the bad. Another exercise Kaur recommends is to reflect on a time when you wished for something you now have.
Oh, I love that one. It's like reminding yourself of how far you've come.
Right.
Maybe you used to dream of having your own apartment, and now you do, even if it's not the fanciest place. Or maybe you wished for a certain job, and now you have it, even if it's not your ultimate dream career.
Exactly. It helps you appreciate your progress and recognize that you've already achieved things you once longed for. And that can be incredibly empowering, especially when you're feeling stuck in that cycle of comparison. But what about those times when gratitude just feels totally out of reach? When those jealous feelings are so intense, they just threaten to consume you,
Yeah. That's where I think some of Kaur's other affirmations come in,
Okay.
like this one. I am safe, secure, and confident enough in myself that nobody else could ever feel like a threat to me.
Now, that's a powerful statement. And I know it might feel difficult to believe at first, especially when you're struggling with insecurity or comparison. But the more you repeat this affirmation, the more you start to internalize that sense of self-assurance.
Yeah. It's like building a shield of self-love that can deflect those negative thoughts and feelings.
Yeah, I love that.
And I think that ties in nicely with another one of her strategies, creating an alter ego. We talked about this a little bit earlier, and I have to admit, I'm still a little skeptical.
I understand your skepticism. It can feel a little, unnatural or even inauthentic at first. But remember, it's not about pretending to be someone you're not.
Yeah.
It's about tapping into a more confident, empowered aspect of yourself that might be hidden beneath those layers of self-doubt.
So if I'm struggling with jealousy in a romantic relationship, I could create an alter ego who embodies those qualities I want to cultivate, like confidence, self-assuredness, maybe even a little bit of playfulness.
Exactly. And it's not just about how you feel internally.
Yeah.
It's also about how you act and present yourself.
So if my alter ego is super confident and flirty, I might try dressing in a way that makes me feel that way, or initiating conversations with my partner in a more playful, engaging way.
Yeah. It's like giving yourself permission to step outside your comfort zone and experiment with different ways of being. And who knows, you might even discover hidden talents or aspects of your personality you never knew existed.
That's a pretty cool side effect. But creating an alter ego is just one piece of the puzzle, right? Kaur also stresses the importance of questioning your jealousy.
Yes. It's about getting curious about those root causes of those feelings and understanding what insecurities are being triggered.
So let's say I'm feeling jealous of a friend who's getting a lot of attention for their creative work. Instead of just stewing in those emotions, I could ask myself, what's really bothering me here? Is it that I feel like my own creative work isn't good enough? Or is it that I'm not putting myself out there as much as I could be?
That's it. It's about turning that jealousy into an opportunity for self-reflection and growth. What insecurities are being triggered? What needs are going unmet? Once you identify those, you can start to address them directly rather than projecting them onto others.
So instead of focusing on my friend's success, maybe I shift my attention to nurturing my own creativity.
Yeah.
Maybe I sign up for a workshop, or I carve out more time for writing or painting.
Exactly. It's about channeling that jealous energy into positive action. And it's about remembering that someone else's success doesn't diminish your own. There's room for everyone to shine.
And that brings us back to the importance of cultivating an abundance mindset.
Yes.
Believing that there's enough success, happiness, and love to go around, which conveniently is another one of Kaur's affirmations. Other people's success does not symbolize my lack.
Such a powerful reminder, especially in today's, kind of competitive world. It's so easy to get caught up in the scarcity trap, feeling like you're constantly fighting for your piece of the pie.
Right.
But when you shift to an abundance mindset, you can start to celebrate other people's wins without feeling threatened.
And I think that's a key ingredient in overcoming jealousy. It's about learning to see other people's successes as inspiration rather than competition.
Absolutely. And it's about remembering that we're all on our own journeys, each with its own unique challenges and triumphs.
So we've talked about gratitude, self-affirmation, questioning jealousy, and cultivating an abundance mindset. What other strategies does Kaur offer for dealing with those feelings of insecurity and comparison?
Well, she emphasizes the importance of self-care.
Okay.
And she specifically mentions prioritizing activities that boost your self-esteem and overall well-being.
So things like exercise, meditation, healthy eating, all those things that we know are good for us, but we often put on the back burner.
Exactly. And she even gets into the specifics of diet, pointing out that, foods high in sugar or processed ingredients can leave you feeling sluggish and less confident.
Oh, yeah.
It's about fueling your body and mind with things that nourish you and make you feel your best.
That's such an important point. We often underestimate the connection between our physical and mental health.
Right.
If you're constantly feeling tired and run down, it's so much harder to maintain a positive mindset and resist those negative thoughts and feelings.
Absolutely. And self-care isn't just about what you put into your body. It's also about how you treat yourself, right?
Yeah.
Are you kind to yourself? Do you give yourself permission to rest and recharge? Do you celebrate your accomplishments?
Those are all such essential ingredients in self-love, which is really at the heart of Kaur's message, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's about accepting yourself fully, flaws and all, and recognizing your inherent worth.
And she even ties this back to the concept of chakras, mentioning that an imbalanced heart chakra can lead to feelings of loneliness, jealousy, and judgment.
Interesting.
So it's about tending to your whole self, body, mind, and spirit to cultivate that sense of inner peace and security.
Which brings us to one of the most intriguing strategies Kaur suggests, becoming your own it girl.
I love that phrase. It's about embracing your unique qualities and celebrating your individuality.
Exactly. She shares a personal example about how she's always been naturally slim and has received both positive and negative feedback about her body type. But instead of letting those external opinions dictate her self-worth, she's chosen to embrace her body just as it is.
What a great example. It's such a powerful reminder that beauty is subjective and that true confidence comes from within.
And Kara emphasizes that this applies to all aspects of ourselves, not just our physical appearance. It's about owning our strengths, acknowledging our weaknesses, and accepting ourselves fully, flaws and all. It's about letting go of the need to be perfect and embracing the messy, imperfect beauty of who we truly are.
And when we can do that, when we can truly love and accept ourselves, it becomes so much easier to let go of that need to compare ourselves to others. It's like we're finally free to just be ourselves without the burden of trying to live up to someone else's standards or expectations.
Yeah.
And that freedom, that self-acceptance, is the foundation of true happiness and fulfillment.
Beautifully said. But before we move on to Kaur's strategies for overcoming FOMO, I think it's important to acknowledge that dealing with jealousy can be a real challenge.
For sure.
It's a deeply human emotion, and it can be so difficult to shake those feelings of insecurity and inadequacy.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes those feelings can be so intense that they start to affect our relationships and our overall well-being.
And if that's the case, it's so important to seek support from trusted friends, family members, or a therapist.
Yeah.
It's okay to ask for help when you need it. In fact, it's a sign of strength and self-awareness.
Absolutely.
And remember, you're not alone in this. We all struggle with jealousy at times.
Yeah.
The key is to develop those healthy coping mechanisms and cultivate a more compassionate and self-accepting mindset.
So true. And speaking of challenges, let's shift gears and talk about FOMO, that fear of missing out that seems amplified in our hyper-connected world.
Yeah.
How does Kaur suggest we navigate that?
Well, she starts with a really important reminder. Social media is a highlight reel. People are only sharing the curated, often idealized versions of their lives.
Totally.
It's so easy to get caught up in comparing your everyday reality to someone else's perfectly filtered online persona.
It's like comparing your blooper reel to someone else's finished film.
Exactly. And she encourages listeners to curate their digital space. Strategically unfollowing or muting accounts that trigger envy or comparison can make a huge difference.
It's about taking control of the information you consume and choosing to surround yourself with content that supports your growth and happiness.
Mm-hmm.
Think of it as like creating a mental and emotional diet that nourishes your soul.
Oh, I love that. Just like you wouldn't eat junk food all day, every day, you don't want to fill your mind with content that makes you feel bad about yourself.
Right. And, I found that taking regular social media breaks can be incredibly helpful too.
Yeah.
It allows you to just reconnect with yourself, with your own values and priorities.
And I think that's so crucial when it comes to overcoming FOMO.
Yeah.
It's recognizing that you don't have to do everything, see everything, or experience everything to live a fulfilling life.
Right. It's about choosing what truly matters to you.
Right.
And focusing your energy on those things.
And sometimes that means saying no to things, even if they sound fun or exciting.
Yeah, and that's okay. It's about setting boundaries and prioritizing your own well-being.
Okay, so we've talked about curating your digital space, taking social media breaks, and focusing on what truly matters to you. What other insights does Kaur offer for dealing with FOMO?
Well, she has this really powerful reminder about the inevitability of stress.
Okay.
She says every stage of life comes with its own unique set of challenges.
It's like that saying, wherever you go, there you are.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't escape your problems by changing your external circumstances.
Exactly. And she offers a great analogy to illustrate this point. She talks about how when you're single, you might stress about finding a partner. But when you're in a relationship, you might stress about maintaining that relationship or dealing with your partner's family.
Oh, for sure. It's like trading one set of problems for another.
Right. And the same goes for work. When you're in a 9-to-5, you might stress about your boss or your long commute. But when you start your own business, you might stress about financial instability or the long hours.
So it's recognizing that each stage of life has its own unique challenges and that there's no escape from stress entirely.
Yeah. But the good news is that we can learn to manage stress more effectively and develop coping mechanisms that help us navigate those challenging times.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it's simply about shifting our perspective and reframing our challenges as opportunities for growth.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's where mindfulness comes in. Being present in the moment, appreciating the good things in your life, and recognizing that you're exactly where you need to be.
Beautifully said. And Kaur offers a really helpful reminder that no matter what stage of life we're in, we're always evolving and learning.
It's about embracing the journey and trusting that we're exactly where we need to be. And that trust, that faith in ourselves and the unfolding of our lives can help us let go of FOMO and embrace the present moment.
Because ultimately, the only moment we truly have is now. But we also need to equip ourselves with tools to navigate those moments when comparison, envy, or FOMO threaten to steal our joy.
And that's where those affirmations come in. They're like little reminders of our strength and our worth. We've already touched on a few of them, but I think it's worth revisiting them in the context of FOMO.
Okay. Yeah, let's do it. So let's dive back into those affirmations and explore how they can help us cultivate a more grounded and self-assured mindset. Which one resonates with you the most in terms of combating FOMO?
Welcome back to the deep dive. We're wrapping up our exploration of Tam Kaur's strategies for conquering comparison and cultivating self-obsession.
And it wouldn't be a true deep dive without exploring those homework assignments Karsh gives.
Oh, yeah.
These aren't your typical pen and paper tasks. They're designed to help you integrate these insights into your life.
Yeah, like starting today.
Exactly. So she doesn't just leave you with, these feel-good theories. She wants you to walk away with some actionable steps. So let's unpack these assignments.
Okay, let's do it.
First up, reading recommendations.
Yeah.
Kaur suggests 2 books that she found incredibly helpful in her own journey.
Okay.
The Defining Decade, which focuses on the unique pressures and opportunities of your 20s.
Okay, yeah.
It's a time when, a lot of people feel that comparison pressures so acutely.
Yeah. Like you're just starting out in your career, figuring out relationships, trying to find your place in the world. It's easy to look at what others are doing and feel like you're falling behind.
Exactly. And the Defining Decade offers some guidance on how to navigate that, encouraging you to define your own path and embrace your own timeline. Her second recommendation is How to Fail by Elizabeth Day.
Now that's a title that makes you stop and think. It seems kind of counterintuitive to seek out a book about failure, but Kaur explains that it reframes failure as an opportunity for learning and growth.
Yeah. Think about it. Have you learned more from your successes or your failures?
Honestly. Probably my failures. But it's so easy to get caught up in the shame and self-blame that often comes with failure.
And this book helps you shift that perspective. It encourages you to embrace imperfection and recognize that your mistakes don't define you.
Okay.
I think both of these books offer some really valuable tools for cultivating a more resilient and self-compassionate mindset, which is so essential when you're trying to, break free from comparison.
Totally. But sometimes you need a little more immediate action. Kaur's next assignment is a social media detox.
Ah, yes. It's like hitting the reset button on your mental and emotional well-being.
I love that.
Think about those accounts that make you question your own choices, your appearance, or your worth. She encourages you to, unfollow or mute them without hesitation.
Yeah.
It's not about being judgmental. It's about protecting your energy.
Right. It's about creating a digital space that feels supportive and inspiring. And I think that ties in nicely with her suggestion to fill your feed with accounts that, make you smile or spark your creativity or teach you something new.
Yeah.
It's about curating a digital environment that reflects your values and aspirations.
Exactly. Imagine your social media feed as a carefully curated garden. You wouldn't just let it become overgrown with weeds, would you?
No.
You'd nurture it, tend to it, and fill it with beautiful flowers that bring you joy.
And if you're feeling really bold, Kaur suggests taking a complete break from social media for a few days or even a week.
Oh, yeah. It can be so refreshing to disconnect from the digital world and reconnect with yourself.
Totally. Yeah.
Reconnect with the people around you,
Yeah.
with the simple pleasures of life.
I've done that a few times, and I'm always amazed by how much more peaceful and content I feel when I'm not constantly bombarded with other people's highlight reels.
It's so true.
But sometimes the most powerful shifts happen internally. That's where Kaur's gratitude exercise comes in.
Yeah, it's about taking a moment to appreciate the good things in your life, no matter how small they may seem.
She suggests getting out a journal and writing down 5 things you're grateful for.
Could be anything, from your health, your family, a sunny day, a delicious cup of coffee. The point is to shift your focus from what you lack to what you have.
Right.
To cultivate that sense of abundance.
And to deepen that sense of gratitude, Kaur suggests reflecting on a time when you wish for something you now have. It could be a job or a relationship or a material possession or even just a skill you've developed. It's about recognizing how far you've come and appreciating the things you might now take for granted.
It's a powerful reminder that we often have more than we realize. And it's a great antidote to that feeling of never enough. That can fuel comparison and FOMO.
Totally. But gratitude isn't just about reflecting on the past, right? It's also about taking action in the present.
Absolutely. And that's where Kaur's final homework assignment comes in. Goal setting. She encourages listeners to create a list of their goals, no matter how big or small. These goals could be related to your career, relationships, health, personal growth, anything that's important to you. It's about getting clear on what you want to achieve and then taking concrete steps to make it happen. And she suggests picking one goal from that list and dedicating at least 1 hour this week to pursuing it.
Okay.
It could be researching a new skill, brainstorming ideas for a project, or simply just taking a small step in the right direction.
The point is to shift your focus from what others are doing to what you want to achieve.
Exactly.
It's about taking ownership of your dreams and putting in the effort to make them a reality.
And as Kaur reminds us, even small steps can lead to big results over time.
So there you have it, Tam Kaur's homework assignments for conquering comparison and cultivating self-obsession. We've covered reading recommendations, a social media detox, a gratitude exercise, and goal setting. Hopefully, you found these assignments inspiring and actionable. Remember, it's not about doing everything perfectly. It's about experimenting with different strategies and finding what works best for you.
And most importantly, be patient with yourself. Celebrate your progress along the way.
Exactly. As we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with a few final thoughts.
Okay.
The journey of self-discovery and self-love, it's ongoing. There will be times when you feel super confident and secure, and there will be times when you struggle with comparison and self-doubt.
Yeah, absolutely.
But the key is to keep practicing the strategies we've discussed. Keep reminding yourself of your worth, keep nurturing your passions, and keep surrounding yourself with people and content that inspire you. And remember, you are not alone in this journey.
We all have our own unique struggles and triumphs.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. But by supporting each other, sharing our experiences, and celebrating our individuality, we can create a more compassionate and empowering world for everyone.
Absolutely.
So go forth and conquer comparison. Cultivate that self-obsession in the best way possible and embrace the amazing journey of becoming your most authentic and empowered self. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep shining your light.
Yes.